Kyle from altmediareviews.blogspot.com. Hi there. I know a lot of videos, they usually have like their drinks and their beverages and their, sometimes they have food, not often. Not going to go great into detail, but I have been drinking, not obsessively, but I have to be drinking a lot of water. So my beverage, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, has to be the H2O stuff. And these things I am endorsing specifically at the Aldi locations if you're in North America. I don't know if Aldis are located other parts of the world, but Clementines. And somehow, for some reason, the ones at Aldi, and I'm not sure if it's like Trader Joe's or a couple other places, have the Clementines I like. My girlfriend doesn't like these kind. These happen to be a little more sour and tangy. The ones that they have a lot of the other grocery stores have been hit and miss. So you get your vitamin C. I'd say that these are probably the easiest things to eat because they're not a lot, but they do give you something. But anyway, I'm not a food critic necessarily, although I will post about food once in a blue moon, restaurants, or even whatever. But I'm here for this video to talk about a project/band that I mentioned maybe once or twice in other videos, but the project now band, which has got members in different countries, but the main writer is this guy named Tomer Pink, and the band's called Subterranean Masquerade. Subterranean Masquerade, and Tomer is from Israel, but it also features a number of other members, including Paul Coor of the sort of death metal band November's Doom, and he's somewhere in the East Coast or somewhere out east in the U.S. But instead of just talking about their new record, because they put out a new record for the first time in 10 years within the last month, I would figure I'd just go over their whole catalog because it's not that big, and I'm not going to go into extensively long diatribe details probably with any of this stuff, but just to give people a little overview. Their first record was this EP that came out in, I think it was 2004, and it was called Temporary Psychotic State. It features two tracks, two kind of epic tracks, like 10 and 8 minutes or something like that, or maybe more than that. It's about 20 some odd minute EP. The CD actually is pretty cool looking. You don't see too many discs they're that like that. I guess it's maybe because the music's only on the red part. So. Oops. But yeah, this was, Subterranean Masquerade. I guess they do a style of, you'd call it progressive folk death metal or progressive rock and death metal. I mean, it doesn't feature that much death metal, but it has its moments, especially with some of Paul Coor's non-clean vocals, his growls. So, but granted, I didn't hear this EP first, but it's a good EP. I mean, after I got into them, I definitely bought it because I enjoyed it enough to worth buying. A masterful amalgam of progressive post-rock and an atmospheric epic doom, Subterranean Masquerade are an entity of unique diversity, delicate wonders, and an intimate power. From Chris Bruni of Brave Words. Anyway, so yeah, they put that first thing out in 2004. I didn't know who they were then, of course, but and then they put out the next record not that long after it, their first full length, Suspended Animation Dreams with an S, and I don't know how long after I heard about it. I think it probably wasn't until 2007, 2008. The biggest thing I remember about it was someone wrote a review on Rate Your Music comparing it to Opeth, but not identical to Opeth, but using sort of the folk music or folk rock of sorts, little acoustic sections with death metal sections that segue, and using other things like saxophone, and in this particular case, in this record, Suspended Animation Dream, the female choir vocals stand out among many other things. I would say, having listened to this record a handful of times, although not as much in recent years, there's only 8 tracks on it. The track Awake, which is an epic 11-minute track, and Six Strings to Cover Fear are probably my favorite moments of it, but the string section, there's a string section especially on that Six Strings to Cover Fear, and then they use it again, I believe, on Awake. It's breathtaking the way it kind of gradually segues, da 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 da, you know. And that was what it made them unique. I mean, they used sort of the saxophone and some other elements, which wasn't really typical of death metal, and wasn't with the growls. Some of the I found them humorous, Paul Coor's growls, but they still worked. The line, "Wake up," not wake up. The mask hanging on the wall, the way he enunciates it was like a staple in my brain. But I found it both funny and entertaining, and something that grew on me more and more. Just like a lot of death metal vocals. Michael Ackerfeld included. So, and then this came out when it was 2004, 2005, something like that, and I heard about it in 2006 or 2007. They talked about another record not that long after it, back in the MySpace days. They were, what it was posted, I believe it was Tomer, it was going to be titled In Pastel Colors, and I think it was going to be out, like, I remember December of one year, 2008 or 2009. Didn't happen, and I knew that, you know, Subterranean Masquerade was a side project because Paul Coor's, you know, his main band was The Members Doom, and so I didn't really know if this was the end, if it was just a one-off. They had this one record, and then I found the EP, but a couple of years ago, 2011, they started showing some more presence. I think it was on Facebook, and then they announced, it was like late 2012, that they were putting out a single, called Home, which I ended up buying, of course. I've got the vinyl, and I've got actually not just one copy, but two copies, because I won some sort of submission contest online, and if I can get it out here, and I end up winning the test pressing of it. Now, I think this is just the standard version that I bought, which is just a 7-inch. It includes the new song Home, which is great. I guess it, compared to, say, Suspended Animation Dreams and Temporary Psychotic State, it was more refined, more concise. They were a little heavier, maybe. I don't know if you would say that. It was just a more energetic. It was less folky, I guess that would be. And then they covered, I'd say that it was less folky and more rocky, for lack of a better way to put it. They covered a song called Beyond the Pale, which is by a cover of a song from a band called Mission UK, I believe, or Mission. I think it was Mission UK. Anyway, their version is really good. It uses this sort of mandolin crescendo in the middle that's just an earworm. Very gallopy, sort of, you know, uplifting, energetic section. Anyway, and I think this, okay, so I've got that one, and then maybe this is, limited to 300 copies. That may be just in general. One of these is a test press, and I know that because I end up posting something about them on Facebook, and they said I was a winner. For better or for worse, I don't know if someone else had a better idea, but I was very thankful for that, and so, I think this might be it. Well, okay, I take that back. I think this might be the standard version that turned out to be brown, tan or brown. Maybe it would just be considered tan. But in 2013. So the other one I got was just a test pressing. Sometimes if you don't spend some time looking back at something you receive. Limited to 300 copies, limited to 300 copies. Well, one of them is a test pressing, and one of them is the standard version. Maybe the colored one was the test pressing. They weren't going to issue that many of those. So anyway, then I think it was early last year, because they talked about throughout 2013 putting on a full-length record, and members joining. They became like a full band and everything like that. They got one of the members from Orphanland to join. Orphanland also being a progressive metal band from Israel, using a lot of folk instruments. And then Toby, the singer from Orphanland, ended up joining them. One of the members of Green Carnation, I want to say. Anyway, besides Tomer, Pink, and Paul Coor, and this is the new record, The Great Bazaar. Not in pastel colors, but I don't know what happened with that. Maybe the name changed, or maybe that's for another record at some point. So, and it came out, and you know, the vinyl I'm still expecting, but I don't know. It's a concept album of some kind. It has 7 songs, and they added the 2 tracks from the Home EP. And just as far as talking about it, I would say differences being from their first LP, from Suspended Animation Dreams. it uses more of a ethnic, like Middle Eastern ethnic element at times. My favorite moments probably would be the end of Tour Diary. Kind of sounds like Pain of Salvation. I mean, I just was thinking of the best moments from like The Perfect Element and Remedy Lane. Blanket of Longing too, talking about Don't Cry Anymore. That's the sort of chorus, Don't Cry Anymore. But it has those kind of great dramatic crescendos. There's definitely your saxophone still. There's definitely the mix of Paul Coor's, somewhat still humorous but very effective and interesting growls, deep guttural growls, and his clean vocals. And then there's some of Toby, I believe it's Toby from Orphanland, I think, on a few of these tracks. So we have at least two, maybe more singers, and then of course Paul doing more than one voice. And Toby, who knows? Because if he's the lead singer, I think he's the lead singer of Orphanland. At least if it's that's the guy I'm thinking of. He of course, they have growls in their music too. But Early Morning Mantra is a good starter track, opening track of the record. Father and Son's a nice ender. I mean, I don't want to go into a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen details about it. It does include, of course, Home and Beyond the Pale, which kind of adds a little extra to it. But I can't really say there was anything really poor about this record, other than I think it's plateaued for my taste, having listened to it for about a month. And it's one of my favorite records of 2014, 2015, or just of the 2015 year. But if you like progressive metal, and you don't mind vocals you like Middle Eastern music with progressive metal, like Orphanland, you like the previous record, it's a little less folky, I guess you could say, and it's a little more layered. But the production is excellent on it. I can't really say anything bad about that. So really glad to see Subterranean Masquerade, after 10 years, put out another record called The Great Bazaar, and they're supposed to be touring. Maybe they'll be in the U.S. at some point, or North America in the next year or two, and they're more of a real band now. I'd say also, if you like Green Carnation, especially I like the one record, Light of Day, Day of Darkness, especially, there's a lot of elements to that, or like In Vain, another band that sort of uses a lot of textures and layers of guitar tones and other percussive instruments, and definitely it's a good record to check out, and it's one of the best records on Rate Your Music at this point. I don't know how long they'll hold up, but so check it out. Thank you for watching.